Welcome back to day 2 of me reading The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. Thank you so very much for your time again. I would love for you to take a few moments to like this, to post it, and to subscribe to my channel. I intend to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and so I'll need your help in doing so. I'm Tracy Lene, and I'm reading the book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. I'm not doing it like Audible, where you just read it straight through. I'm going to read one chapter, and I'm going to comment when I feel like it. So if that's not for you, I totally understand and wish you the best in your life and your day and everything. Here we go. The second chapter is called The Law of Prosperity. One of the greatest messages given to the race throughout the scriptures is that God is man's supply, and that man can release, through his spoken word, all that belongs to him by divine right. He must, however, have perfect faith in his spoken word. Isaiah said, "My word shall not return unto me void, but shall accomplish that whereunto it is sent." That's deep. We know that words and thoughts are a tremendous vibratory force, ever molding man's bodies and affairs. A woman came to me in great distress and said she was to be sued on the 15th of the month for $3,000. Now, guys, this was back in 1930 something. So that now would be she's being sued for like almost 20,000 probably. She was to be sued on the 15th of the month for $3,000. She knew no way of getting the money and was in despair. I told her God was her supply and that there is a supply for every demand. So I spoke the word. I gave thanks that the woman would receive $3,000 at the right time and in the right way. I told her she must have perfect faith and act her perfect faith. The 15th came, but no money had materialized. And most of us on the 15th would have been like, I knew this wasn't going to happen. And guess why it didn't happen? Because I knew this wasn't going to happen. You've got to have the perfect faith, and you've got to believe. I believe that we all have a divine destiny, and our life is already kind of mapped out, but not completely. It's like some uncharted terrain that you can decide upon, but it's like breadcrumbs drop down. And if we sit and meditate and follow that inner guidance, if we have a faith tradition and we do what that faith tradition says, we will find the destination for us. We will find the journey that works best for us. And it's all carved out, and there's no need to worry. And I know it's easy to say, but it's easy to do if you trust in yourself and in the faith. She called me on the phone and asked what she was to do. Now remember, she's on the 15th, and she's like, where the money at? The money ain't here. These people about to sue me, and this money ain't here. Let me call this lady up. She said it was coming. That's another thing. We can't put ourselves and our faith in other people. We got to put it in ourselves. But anyway, she called me on the phone and asked what she was to do. I replied, it is Saturday, so they won't sue you today. Look at the perfect plan in God's life. God knew the 15th was on a Saturday when the lady said she was going to sue. Your part is to act rich, thereby showing perfect faith that you will receive it by Monday. Woo, that's a lot, but stay tuned. She asked me to lunch with her to keep up her courage. When I joined her at a restaurant, I said, this is no time to economize. Order an expensive luncheon. Act as if you already have received the $3,000. All things whatsoever ye ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. You must act as if you had already received. The next morning, she called me on the phone and asked me to stay with her during the day. I said, no, you are divinely protected, and God is never too late. Never too late. When I was in church, the pastor, when I was young, would say, he may not come when you want him, but he's always on time. And I remember I turned to my father and I said, well, if he didn't come when I want him, he is not on time. And I meant that. I felt that in my soul. Like if he... Now I understand that's the egotistical way of thinking things should happen the way I think they should happen at the moment. I think they should happen. That's just not the way God works. In the evening, she phoned again, greatly excited, and said, my dear, a miracle has happened. I was sitting in my room this morning when the doorbell rang. I said to the maid, now this heifer already had enough money to have a maid. Girl, she should have got a lawyer. Say, you ain't suing me for $3,000. Don't let anyone in. The maid, however, looked out the window and said, it is your cousin with the long white beard. Now, she knows that's the rich cousin. So I said, call him back. I would like to see him. He was just turning the corner. I'd have ran out there and got him myself. when he heard the maid's voice and he came back. He talked for about an hour, and just as he was leaving, he said, "Oh, by the way, how are finances?" I told him I needed the money, and he said, "Why, my dear, I will give you $3,000 the first of the month." I would have said, "She sued me on the 15th. That was yesterday. I need this money now. Any way you can get it to me a bit earlier, cuz?" First of all, we would have been talking for a whole hour if I knew this was a rich cousin without me saying, "I need some money." Anywho, she has more decorum than me, I suppose. I didn't like to tell him I was going to be sued. "What shall I do? I won't receive it till the first of the month, and I must have it tomorrow." I said, "I'll keep on treating." I would have said, "I'm about to be sued. Can I get this money by tomorrow so this lady don't sue me?" Or I would have said to the lady, "I'm going to have it by the first of the month. So can you wait till the first of the month?" First of all, in the modern day and times, I could have went to the judge and said, "I ain't got it today. I can have it till on the first of the month." And the judge would have said, "Okay." But anywho, let's go back to this. I said, "Spirit is never too late. I give thanks she has received the money on the invisible plane and that it manifests on time." The next morning, her cousin called her up and said, "Come to my office this morning, and I will give you the money." Praise God. That afternoon, she had $3,000 to her credit in the bank and wrote checks as rapidly as her excitement would permit. So if one asks for success and prepares for failure, he would get the situation he is prepared for. And I know that. And think about it for a second. I'll wait. Oh, I should have told you to think about it. Think about how many times you have said, "I knew this wasn't going to happen," about something, and it didn't happen. Because you knew it wasn't going to happen. And think about the amount of times you said, "I knew this was going to happen," and that happened. We are so in control, we just don't know it. For example, a man came to me asking me to speak the word that a certain debt would be wiped out. I found he spent his time planning what he would say to the man when he did not pay his bill, thereby neutralizing my words. He should have seen himself paying the debt. Now, women like Florence Scovel Shinn, or men who step into the gap to help you believe, they're very necessary. Until you can stand on your own, your parents hold you and they carry you around, and then they give you a little walker until you can walk on your own. So spiritual people are people who help you walk until you can walk on your own, but you have to walk on your own at some point. Unless there's a disability in you, which usually, like with people, if they never walk, there's something wrong. So if you're never able to get away from a spiritual person helping you, there's something wrong. You can fix that though. Okay. I found he spent time planning what he would say to the man who did not pay his bill, thereby neutralizing my words. He should have seen himself paying the debt. We have a wonderful illustration of this in the Bible, relating to the 3 kings who were in the desert, without water for their men and horses. They consulted the prophet Elisha, who gave them an astonishing message. "Thus saith the Lord, ye shall not see wind, neither shall ye see rain, yet make this valley full of ditches." Man must prepare for the thing he has asked for. Let's go back to that scripture. "Thus saith the Lord, ye shall not see wind, neither shall ye see rain, yet make this valley full of ditches." So that was Spirit saying, you don't see it now, but it's coming, so prepare these ditches. Man must prepare for the thing he has asked for when there isn't the slightest sign of it in sight. So, for example, I'll use for example this one. A woman found it necessary to look for an apartment during the year when there was a great shortage of apartments in New York. It was considered an almost impossibility, and her friends were sorry for her and said, "Isn't it too bad? You'll have to store your furniture and live in a hotel." She replied, "You needn't feel sorry for me. I'm a Superman. I'll get an apartment." She spoke the words, "Infinite Spirit, open the way for the right apartment." She knew there was supply for every demand, and that she was unconditioned, working on the spiritual plane, and that with one, and I'm sorry, that's the dog making all the noise, but I'm gonna keep going. Okay. She knew that there was a supply for every demand, and that she was unconditioned, working on the spiritual plane, and that one with God is a majority. One with God is the majority. I like that. I think I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. One with God is a majority. I like that. You like that? You want that on a t-shirt? Let me know. She had contemplated buying new blankets when the tempter, the adverse thought or reason in mind, suggested, "Don't buy no blankets. Perhaps after all, you won't get an apartment and you will have no use for them." She promptly replied to herself, "I'll dig my ditches by buying the blankets." So she prepared for the apartment and acted as though she already had it. We all have that. negative mind that tries to jump in and tell us the things that is there. Okay, how am I saying this? So we're wired for survival, right? So the survival part of her is saying, don't you bat it because you don't hardly have no money, you don't know where to put it. But the faithful side, the God side, is like, didn't I tell you to dig that ditch? Listen to the God side. It wins out every time. Even if it doesn't win out at the moment you think it should have won out, it wins out. It wins out. She found one in a miraculous way, and it was given to her, although there were over 200 other applicants. Another example of that is, I hear all the time, ain't no good men out here, ain't no good women out here. But yet I'm seeing couples making this shit work. So there are good men and good women out here. You're not attracting them. Maybe you ain't a good man. Maybe you ain't a good woman. Maybe your idea of good is not the actual definition of good. Maybe you don't have high morals and high character. So I believe that anything you attract to you, it's because it's that magnet. That does not mean you're trifling if you meet a trifling person. But you may have low self-esteem and believe things about yourself, so that person has to come in and show you that it's true because you believe it. There are good people out there. That you don't have to be single forever if you don't want to be. But first you have got to realize you are not alone. You are with you, baby. You are with you. And when you are with you, that is more than enough. Because one with God is what? The majority. Hey. Anywho. Whew. The blanket showed active faith. It is needless to say that the ditches dug by the 3 kings in the desert were filled to overflowing. Read 2 Kings. You can see it for yourself. Getting into the spiritual swing of things is no easy matter for the average person. The adverse thoughts of doubt and fear surge from the subconscious mind. They are the army of the aliens, which must be put to flight. This explains why it is often darkest before the dawn. A big demonstration is usually preceded by tormenting thoughts. Think about that. Think about the things that you wanted and you finally got it, and all of the stuff that you had to go through. That's why journaling is so important. And I'm working now on a journal that can help you put those thoughts in perspective, in the page, so that when the thing comes that you've been waiting for, you can go back and you can see all of the blues clues of how it got there. You can see how all of the breadcrumbs led you right to it. So the next time you can do it again. You can do it bigger and badder. You don't ever have to be bitter. You can be better. You can be better. Bitter is for fools and weak people. You are not a fool or a weak person. You are a victor. And you have the victory in the name of whatever the God of your understanding tells you have the victory in. Where was I at? Okay. Having made a statement of high spiritual truth, one challenges the old beliefs in the subconscious, and error is exposed to be put out. This is the time when one must make his affirmations of truth repeatedly and rejoice and give thanks that he has already received. Before ye call, I shall answer. That's God. God, you know what? God be flexing on us. Before you call, I'm going to answer. What you doing, God? Just calling before I answer, before I call. This means that every good and perfect gift is already man's, awaiting his recognition. Because it's already there. And you want it. It wants you. Man can only receive what he sees himself receiving. Let me say that again. Man can only receive what he sees himself receiving. I got to say it again because I didn't say it all the way right. Man can only receive what he sees himself receiving. Yeah, get that? The children of Israel were told that they could have all the land they could see. This is true of every man. He has only the land within his own mental vision. Every great work, every big accomplishment has been brought into manifestation through holding to the vision. And often just before the big achievement comes apparent failure and discouragement. That's just to see if you really want what you say you want. Because sometimes we say we want stuff, but we really don't want it. So the universe sends us a little, give them a little bit of turmoil to see if they overcome that turmoil, because then they, they really want what they say they really want. The children of Israel, when they reached the promised land, were afraid to go in, for they said it was filled with giants who made them feel like grasshoppers. That's people who don't go into business. They see other people in business doing things and they go, I can't do that, so they don't go. That's how I used to be. I make beautiful jewelry. I make t-shirts. I do all these amazing things, and I didn't want to do it because other people were doing it and I felt they were better. They were the giants. I had to conquer those giants, and you have to conquer yours too. And there we saw the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. This is almost every man's experience. However, the one who knows spiritual law is undisturbed by appearance and rejoices while he is yet in captivity. That is, he holds to his vision and gives thanks that the end is accomplished. He has received. Jesus Christ gave a wonderful example of this. He said to his disciples, Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh the harvest? Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look onto the fields, for they are ripe already to harvest. His clear vision pierced the world of matter, and he saw clearly the fourth dimensional world, things as they really are, perfect and complete in divine mind. So man must ever hold to the vision of his journey's end, and demand the manifestation of that which he has already received. It may be his perfect health, love, supply, self-expression, home, or friends. They are all finished and perfect ideals registered in divine mind, man's own super subconscious mind, and must come through him, not to him. For example, a man came to me asking for treatments for success. It was imperative that he raise within a certain time $50,000 for his business. Now that would be about $1 million now. The time limit was almost up when he came to me in despair. No one wanted to invest in his enterprise, and the bank had flatly refused the loan. I replied, I suppose you lost your temper around the bank, therefore your power. You can control any situation if you first control yourself. I'm going to say it again for the cheap seats. You can control any situation if you first control yourself. Control yourself. They made me mad. No, you allowed them to make you mad. Go back to the bank, I added, and I will treat. My treatment was, you are identified in love with the spirit of everyone connected with the bank. Let the divine idea come out of this situation. He replied, Woman, you are talking about an impossibility. Tomorrow is Saturday. You know, it's a lot of Saturdays by the time they get to her. And the bank closes at 12. And my train won't get me there until 10. And the time limit is up tomorrow. Oh, look, God love her working like that. Yeah, I know that myself. And anyway, they won't do it. It is too late. I replied, God doesn't need any time, and it is never too late. With him, all things are possible, I added. I don't know anything about business, but I know all about God. Hey, he replied, it all sounds fine when I sit here listening to you, but when I go out, it's terrible. This is what this means. He's willing to believe it. He just needs to have his faith jumped up. She is that intercessor. So that's the difference in a person who's willing to believe something. So let's say you're not quite ready to believe it. Say, well, I'm willing to accept that this is my reality. That opens the door for possibilities. And that's what he did. He lived in a distant city, and I did not hear from him for a week. Then came a letter. It read, you were right. Yeah. I raised the money and will never again doubt the truth of all you told me. He'll doubt it again. That's just what we do. But he'll come back to the reality of it. Well, he's dead because this was in 1930. But we do that. We'll doubt it again and again and again. And keep coming back to it. It's part of the human experience. Not everybody does that. Some people, they just be floating and knowing and believing and never give up. And I love them. I want to get like them. I saw him a few weeks later and I said, what happened? You evidently had plenty of time after all. He replied, my train was late and I got there just 15 minutes to 12. I walked into the bank quietly and said, I have come for the loan. And they gave it to me without a question. It was the last 15 minutes of the time allotted to him. An infinite spirit was not too late. In this instance, the man could never have demonstrated alone. He needed someone to help him hold the vision. This is what one man can do for another. Jesus Christ knew the truth of this when he said, if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. One gets too close to his own affairs and becomes doubtful and fearful. The friend or helper, that's like a mastermind group, sees clearly the success, the health, the prosperity, and never wavers because he is not too close to the situation. That's why having a really good friend that's like your cheerleader is very important. That can help you when you start getting down. That can pull you up, but not coddle you, but pull you up. When you start that pity party stuff, they call DJ and say, cancel. You cancel. Caterer, we don't need you. She gonna be good. I got her. Or him. It is, okay. No man can fail if some one person sees him successful. Woo. No man can fail if some one person sees him successful. Having somebody believe in you is paramount. But if you are not privy to that, believe in your damn self, okay? You may not have this. So, but it doesn't give you a reason when nobody believes in me, so I shouldn't believe in me. No, believe in your damn self. I had put that on the shirt before. I might do that again if you want that. becomes my little bitch coming in the room. Marcy, get away from me right now. I'm busy. Such is the power of the vision, and many a great man has owed his success to a wife or a sister or a friend who believed in him and held without wavering to the perfect pattern. That is chapter 2 of The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. I am so grateful that you listened with me this long and hope that you like this and that subscribe. I told y'all yesterday I was going to have some tea, and I did the same thing today. I hope that you like this and subscribe and join me tomorrow for chapter 3. Have an amazing day. Go out there and make it happen. Believe in yourself. If nobody else believes in you, you believe in yourself. You got this. Bye.